Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 here in this best of 3 series and Wellplay Invitational by VitalBet. FlipSid3 Tactics, the down 1-0 up against Kaipi, who've looked very strong in game number 1. My name is Drop, happy to bring you this match, and I'm joined still by PQMZ. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, and I'm excited to see Kaipi doing well. I want to see their players back on the scene more often, so after that dominant performance, it's looking to be a good day for them.
Yeah?
I'm not surprised they banned Bounty as well,
Oh
because
yeah.
that was a really big ability to get ahead for Kaipi that game. Like, if it wasn't for the Bounty, a lot of the things they did wouldn't have been as easily executed.
Yeah. Bamboe Bounty. Also helping out Zai, who's definitely, as you said in the last game, last draft, definitely been an upgrade here for Kaipi. Great to see him back in the scene and knowing, seeing that he still has got what it takes, right? But yeah, Bamboe also with his rotation in there tanked a bit of an arrow here and there, but still helped him out. Just getting that space, getting that these early levels that helped him uh, just be such a nuisance in the early game in that last match. But yeah, a new game, a new draft. What the flip side need to do different here uh, to kind of tie up the series.
I think for a start, they'd probably want some way of making plays that isn't reliant on their supports. Because last game they had a very greedy offlaner that was mirrored by Kaipi, but they relied on their supports way too much to be able to do anything. The QoP was, in idea, fairly good, but in practice it didn't get executed very well, and it really lacked like having the team around it. It felt like.
Yep.
Whereas this game, they've got two cores that can make things happen straight up. Beastmaster, whether he's jungling, whether he's offlaning, or always useful with the vision, and every 70, 80 seconds you can get a kill.
Yep. Beastmaster.
Lifestealer, sorry, go on.
Yeah, Beastmaster is so strong getting these individual pick-offs. You're always gonna get the farm to make that happen too, right? That's the crazy thing. With the Iron Talon especially, it amplifies your farming speed so much in the jungle that you don't necessarily need to rely on having a good offlane. Uh, and yeah, as you said, with the raw plus the necro books, plus the attack speed that's not only affecting you, but obviously your boss as well as your necro creeps, your summons, especially someone like an IO will melt to that extremely quickly. Even the Slark, unless he got the Dark Pact off before the Roar comes out, even he will be burned down and unable to do anything here just because he's lacking the mana. Yeah, that's not even mentioning Lifestealer, just able to invest into the Beastmaster once he's got a Blink Dagger to add that extra bit of damage on top of that.
Yeah, or you can invest into the Hawks, but
Oh yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just about them having cores that can dictate the pace of the game. It helps a lot because they're the heroes that you're prioritizing. And if your game's going badly, your supports aren't going to be able to make the plays because they're way too far behind. They rely on being ahead to be those playmakers, or at least on an even pegging. Last game was anything but. So I really like their adjustment this game. The one thing I feel like they might have some problems with is Slark's going to be very elusive this game. The Hawk vision is naturally countered by Slark because you don't always know when you're being watched most games. Slark obviously gets rid of that problem, and if ever you do get on him without Dark Pact or any of his defensive cooldowns, Io can just bring him away.
Yep.
But it takes him a long time to become a threat this game. Like, man fighting Lifestealer, it's not that simple for Slark. You need 20, 30 minutes of farm bare minimum.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if FlipSid try and hit a window where Beastmaster's able to get Necrobook around 20 minutes, Lifestealer's got Armlet plus something. Disruptor's also very good this game, counters both heroes so far.
Carter's Puck as well. Bit surprised that Disrupt hasn't been banned out here instead of the Tusk maybe. What do you think is the reasoning behind Kaipi's Tusk ban here instead?
I know FlipSid played it a bit before, so that might just be their reasoning. I think Tusk is actually not that great this game because Slark can deal with it fairly comfortably. It's probably just the fact it's a very aggressive support that can move around the map, and Kaipi, with every ban they've done so far, it's wanting to deal with early aggression in the lanes because Puck doesn't really deal with it the best. It can come out of the laning stage okay, but you generally want to be even or ahead, not behind. Same thing with Slark. The last thing you want to be behind with is like Slark and Puck because they just don't have the damage when the opposing team's that much further ahead of you.
Yep.
And especially when like Beastmaster, Lifestealer, they're fairly tanky to begin with. If Disruptor just buys an urn, maybe he's able to survive long enough that his team can come in. The only thing I think they really lack right now is really early push. They have the ways of taking the towers through later game items. Obviously, Beastmaster helps, don't get me wrong, but Lifestealer just going up and hitting a tower for the first 15 minutes of the game after maybe you win a team fight isn't. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, and they're quite happy to sit and farm because they're by no means on a clock. But I would just really like them to have to hit a window where Kaipi is extremely weak this game.
With the Slardar pickup, that's really quite interesting now. That would put the Beastmaster in hard 4 position, it looks it. Slardar offlane perhaps? Because I don't really see a support Slardar be a thing. Or mid Slardar even.
I mean, it's been done. But yeah, Beastmaster's probably the jungling hero of this game, and
isn't that a little bit too greedy now? I mean, Disruptor is also not the best laning support. Lifesteal also being a melee hero. I mean, there's still something like a Darkseer in a pool. Can Kaipi try and exploit that?
I don't think it's that easy to exploit just because any support with Lifestealer has a easy time. Disruptor's actually very strong in like one-on-one scenarios. He's just weak when you're able to outnumber him, or he's got a very weak carry that's not willing to interact in the lane and only wants to hit CS. So I think they can get away with this aggression quite comfortably. Oh, sorry, the greed, not aggression.
Yep.
And they've also got like the last pick on their mid hero, so if they need something that's able to TP into lanes to deal with maybe some movements from Kaipi or gank an over-aggressive offlaner, they've got the option to go back for something like Quap, if necessary.
Yeah. Other options would be maybe up staff profit, just add some extra push, add some extra team fight.
I'd like DP this game. You don't have the defensive tools to work with her, but if Lifestealer and Slardar can get in the front, it's this exact same thing that Kaipi had last game.
Yeah. Kaipi, they go for some extra greed themselves. Yeah.
This is definitely a Zai thing.
Seen before, I believe, on Pro Dota, they ran that as well. Or was it Team Spirit?
10 seconds remaining.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
There is a small option. It's like a mid line and an offlane puck, but chances of that are way less. I think it's just going to be offlane Enigma.
Yeah. I've seen it before. I can't quite remember who, but I think it was. I think what I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's not very common, but when you can make it work, it helps just shore up your laning stage a bit because jungle Enigma is a lot easier to punish than offlane Enigma for the most part.
Leshrac last pick there for FlipSid, so it's one of these mids that's starting to come back, more or less.
It's similar theory to the DP as well.
Yeah.
Like it gives them a way of pushing. It's just slightly more secure damage in the team fights.
Also, ridiculous amount of magic damage that you can bring to the table, and especially in this kind of sustained team fights. This with the ultimate, with the edict taken away, of course, that's being physical damage. Just a stun on a very low cooldown to come up with Disruptor, the Slardar, Lifestealer even giving him more space to hit things. It seems like a very well-run lineup if they don't get caught out too early. Especially Leshrac. It's a mid hero that is not particularly tanky and does not have a lot of escape potential.
Yeah, he can be really susceptible. It's just the likelihood of it being punished this game, I feel like, is quite low just because you're going to be forced to deal with the Slardar. Wisp is a very... It doesn't feel like it's there most of the time as a support when there's not a combo with it. It's just another range sleep right cooking you, let's be honest. So Lion's probably going to have to focus a lot of his time bottom to zone this Slardar out, which is if Kaipi fall behind, it's the same thing that FlipSid had last game. They're quite reliant on not just their supports this game, but they're really reliant on Slark getting ahead, so he can use the fact that he basically has 4 support heroes to initiate for him. Puck can obviously scale into the game quite well, and
15
Enigma with
seconds
3
to
black
wrap up.
holes can scale, but if there's no follow-up damage, the black holes are just locked down to
Yep.
delay things. So Slark doesn't get big this game. I feel really scared for them. And it's not like even if he gets big, it's an auto win. Just because he can't man fight most of these heroes simply.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
he's
on
gonna need a
multiple
lead.
ones. It's not the kind of game where Slark can just go 1v5 more or less, and it's just impossible to lock down. I mean, Dark Pact or no, as Disruptor ends up disconnecting. Dark Pact or no, you can't Dark Pact out with a Static Storm. Uh, and there's a Raw, there's a Lifestealer Slow, there's a Leshrac stun, there's a Slardar stun. There's so many things that FlipSid have that if Slark doesn't have the amount of help that he needs to actually be able to stay safe in a team fight and not be focused down, then yeah, he can make an easy target even later down in the game.
And they're gonna have to rely on the Wisp to make those problems go away. But it still comes down to the fact it doesn't matter if you save the hero if it doesn't feel comfortable re-engaging into you. And this game Slark's gonna need, as I already said, like a lot of items. BKB's probably necessity at some point. Blink or Shadow Blade, maybe even a Midas at the start of the game if he feels like his lane's going well enough that he can afford to back off and let the rest of his team play aggressive, make space for him.
Alright, so where I actually see the Enigma fit in, especially in his offlane role. How is that different compared to the jungle Enigma, which is generally considered to be very efficient, or one of the most efficient jungles in the game?
It's actually a way for them to pressure the lane slightly. It can quite easily get farmed by Disrupt the Lifestealer if he gets out of position, but I imagine he blocks a wave if it's in an unfavorable position. He goes to the camp. He doesn't actually have any sentries on him now though, so if FlipSid even just block that with a boar, it might really mess with his laning stage. But he can always go back to the jungle. It's more about him starting here and seeing what he can get done. At the end of the day, the hero plays the exact same role.
Kind of farm up, be that mech carrier, the threat of a black hole, and a pusher early on. A little bit of a
Yeah,
gank too here with the Malefice.
it's going to be really important he's able to get a good timing on his mech this game as well. Because the synergy of Wisp there is very strong, and if they're able to steroid their Slark that hard, maybe the amount of damage FlipSid has is just too negated by an early mech.
Okay, let's actually talk about this mid matchup here while we still have some time. This banter is really distracting though. I have no idea what they're talking about.
I've been following
It's
it.
Dude, I see 3 Enigmas in my team. Pretty sure the drug should have won us. It's Friday.
I mean, it's Bone7, what do you expect? Maybe that's why he just keeps making questionable plays. Sometimes the drugs are there, sometimes they're not.
Okay. Let's talk a bit more about this mid matchup here. Sing Sing on the puck up against Tamar Wild and Leshrac. I don't imagine Leshrac having an easy time up against a puck, right? I mean,
I'd say it's pretty
I don't know.
50-50. Puck can never, depending on the build he goes for, I've seen, especially with S4 recently, he's been going for like the 2-3-0. And if you go for that build, then it's very hard for the puck to ever play onto you unless you're really low and he can finish you off quickly. So it probably just becomes a farm war. Who gets the runes that actually dictate the matchup will probably be the biggest decider for the lane. And on the flip side as well, it's very easy for Puck to not get hit if you go Lightning Storm build or the stuns. We actually saw it in the major the other day where it was Mushi and S4. The matchup went pretty 50-50.
Yep.
So I don't expect anything different except maybe the Lion rotating in, getting the puck off to a start. That's probably one of the worst things you could have happen to the Lesh this game is if the Lion's able to come in around the 4-5 minute mark with a smoke,
Yeah.
Puck kills him, then hangs around, Dream Cold comes up because you get the experience from the kill him again. That would be like the most scary part of this game for Lesh, because he doesn't really have a defensive support.
Yeah.
The Beastmaster can scout for him with Hawks, but that's about their only defense. So if he gets caught out by that, I think that's a window Kaipi should look to exploit. But other than that, the early laning stage is quite stagnant.
Not
They
bad.
could also do it with Enigma. It doesn't have to be Lion. You know, just level 2 stun on Enigma, level 1 stun maybe might be enough.
Yeah. Enigma missing is a little bit less telegraphed as well, it feels like. I mean, because especially depending on how lane top goes, if he's zoned out, then expect him to be off the map. So him being smoked up, perhaps just wrapping around, it's a little bit less. It's a little bit easier to miss, more or less, than Lion, who's sexy Bamboe. He's holding onto the smoke, so we may very well see some early emphasis on his mid lane. But still missing the Disruptor here. Apparently they're calling Metrom here. See what's going on. It's not
Please no internet
yeah,
problems.
that would be very unfortunate at the very least, considering that they did get themselves a pretty decent draft to work around with here, despite being down 1-0 in the series. They're not out of it just yet by any means.
No,
So
I think they're ahead off the draft personally.
then again, Kaipi, I mean, even in the last game, in the last draft, they show that they bring the confidence needed to make something like this work. And I mean, they picked the Timbersaw into a Doom, and they made it work just because the Timbersaw did so much before Doom could really get online. Okay, apparently he's rebooting his PC, but yeah, so that definitely helps. Just having the confidence, go for the plays that you need to make, and then uh, just deal with the consequences one way or another.
As we're paused, I can go into that a bit more if you want, but if we're looking at it from a theoretical perspective, when I was talking about Timber not being the best pick in that game, there's a complete difference between practice and theory in Dota,
Oh
where
yeah,
there's a lot of timings that, we were talking, he's just going to walk in, get doomed. That was never a factor because of so many other things in that game, and it would take
yeah,
too long to go into all of them, but that's what comes into it when you're looking at a professional level. You can exploit these timings that just don't exist outside of scrims. In pubs, you're not going to be able to rely on your Timbersaw not getting doomed consistently because it's not like a 5-man thing. And
yeah,
even if it is, then, skill level drastically differs. Which is the joy of Dota, honestly. You can look at it from so many different angles and you
yeah,
see so many different views. Like pro players consistently argue over what they think is good and bad, speaking from perspective. I've multiple times told my ex-team, it's like, no, this hero is garbage. And then 3 months later, the professionals are picking it. And I look like an idiot. But that's because they practiced it. They found out, okay, we can actually get this done in a lane. Like offlane Slardar was an example I'll take.
Oh
I
yeah,
used to think this was a joke, but people learned how to get something out of the offlane with this hero. Because around the time it emerged, it was like Clockwork, Earthshaker, heroes that can manipulate the lane so
yep,
they can guarantee experience. Slardar had no way of doing that. This was pre-hard camp by the ancients, pre-Iron Talon, so that didn't exist. But people made this hero work. Some people also made
yep,
like Tiny work. And it just comes down to the game and execution and understanding the timing windows of
yeah.
what
This
actually counts as the hero. If you just look at it and go, I can't pick Timber into Doom because it's a Doom, then
yeah, you're
you're
limiting
missing out on it a
yourself.
lot.
Yeah, you're limiting yourself unnecessarily. This is yeah, I do agree. I mean, you're limiting yourself because there's some situations where that is true, where Timber just straight up feels useless up against a Doom. But then again, there's so many other situations and uh, that's just not true because, as you said, that it never really happens the way that would be advantageous for the Doom, right? The way that you would expect the kind of would expect the game to go at face value, all things being equal. Because so many things can happen, even starting from minute one. So small things that add up into never seen before configurations almost, if you know what I mean, right? So many things that can happen that can change that makes every game unique in that sense. That can lead to a
I mean,
path where a hero actually looks much better up against another hero, or worse for that in that matter, in that sense, than it should be on paper. I don't know
oh
if I'm
yeah,
making
for
sense or
sure.
not, but yeah, it's
No, I understand what you're saying completely. It's just pause talk.
someone banned the entire Dire team.
Zai's pissed.
What if he really has a date? That was
I mean,
saying earlier.
everyone on Kaipi is a troll, so chance.
Chances are dating each other. Kappa.
No, I more mean
There he
they're
is.
probably just taking the piss.
Alright, Metro is back, so we can hold off on looking at effigies for the next 10 minutes.
Alright, good stuff.
Also, the pause was right at the 0-minute mark. That's something that you don't see every day. But yeah, the game starts. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome. My name is DragonJob. I'm joined by PQMZ, and this is game 2 between Kaipi and FlipSid here in the Wellplay Invitational by VitalBet. It's an upper bracket matchup, so the loser of this series will not drop down, but they will have to play another match right today, in fact, up against Dota. Oh no. Oh no, Bamboe.
Dire's courier.
That's a really important play. Like, we were talking how this mid matchup's going to go roughly 50-50 in theory, but Courier Snipe makes a big deal. How much gold does his team actually get? Like, just over 800 for that swing. Just by killing the Courier, that's huge.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then on top of that, being able to crow for the puck means he can start playing overly aggressive, and Leshrac's going to be much more dependent on runes. Enigma can always deny, well, not necessarily always, because if you commit to the rune early, you can stun the Eidolons or something, but he can be there, he can send his Eidolons to deny the rune. Obviously, getting the bottom runes, Kaipi's probably going to zone that out with supports. So if they can deny the runes, and obviously he's got no chicken to crow, then it's going to help Sing a lot. Even though he's not going for bottle, he's picked up a null, so he wants to dominate the lane slightly more.
I think he needs an old Hillsman just to try and have a chance at contesting last hits. Because Puck right now is on old Hillsman is sitting at 65 damage. Leshrac, if he didn't
He
have an
hits
old
harder
Hillsman,
than Lesh.
yeah, he does still.
No, sorry, I mean he picked up a second one.
Oh wow, okay. There you go.
Yeah, don't shoot yourself in the foot like that, dude.
Didn't he? Wasn't there a bottle on the courier but earlier? Whose bottle was that? Am I
No,
stupid?
no bottle. Yes, you are.
Oh no, it's I's bottle, obviously. Okay, there we go. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. But yeah, well, the courier's got to be back up well before Tamer Wild's got enough money for any bottle of his own. So in that sense, it's all fine. Top lane though. Okay, Zai almost dropping very low. Come with me there in time to help him out.
That was insanely clutch. That's actually going to dictate a lot in this lane, because now you force the Disruptor back to base, you get the lane dominance through having the Wisp here, you can completely zone the Lifestealer off CS. If he had died there before the IO could TP in and Fairy Fire him up, lane looks a lot better for FlipSid, but a bit of over-aggression on their part, losing out on regen, getting punished is such a big deal now, because Enigma's going to have a much better lane. He can go after the jungle, farm this, come back, get the lane. It's also going to help the IO get some extra levels, which is always useful.
It's only almost level 3 here, soaking a little bit more off of this camp. And yeah, as I said, that's a really good benchmark. Sometimes we see IO is just not almost like a bounty hunter that doesn't get anything done. Same kind of vein. Obviously, once again, with the tomes of knowledge that have been added, it's mitigated. Yeah, so far, stable lanes for Kaipi. They do turn around at first blood attempt up top. Bottom lane, Slark is farming decently well here. Slardar doing his best to trying to res. He's at least getting a lot of levels himself, right? He's level 4.5 with only Lion zoning him out.
Yeah, that's... It's really annoying that they're called FlipSide because I keep wanting to say the flip side of this. But with the IO going top, this obviously opens up Slardar to get a much easier lane. He's not going to get as much farm as Enigma regardless, but it's much more about the levels and experience. Sorry. Yeah, the levels and experience, not the gold for him. He'll be able to get the gold through whether it's jungling later or participating in kills.
I don't know if Bamboe will regret this or not. He keeps taunting. Now, Shachlo got himself a DD
Bamboe,
rune.
dude.
Just okay, Shachlo just walks straight through instead of going for play.
Yeah, he's got his tranquils now as well, so it's much harder to zone him out. They do have visions, so
Oh, I almost got a pounce. I don't know if you really want to go on a Slardar though with Crush available plus a DD going.
I think they'd have been fine. I don't think they'd have gotten the kill. He did have sprint active, so there'd be a bit more damage, but they'd probably have needed like a second set of spells to secure the kill. Just because Tranquil's stealth
Sing?
quite tanky.
Almost.
I like the idea behind that, but it's just so hard to execute, right?
Yeah,
if
Sing
you
just jumped a little bit too far away for the Crush to come out immediately, so...
even then you just phase dodge it. The
I think
wind-up
he-
time
okay.
on that stun is so bloody long, it's like impossible to get hit by it unless you're lagging.
Yeah.
Or you're next level baiting, you know? That's also a possibility.
Well, top lane actually saw the first blood, so I missed it completely, obviously. But yeah, this lane going much better than maybe FlipSid expected. Now, Shachlo making a full rotation up top. They're gonna get the revenge on Zai. Sedoy just running them down with these early face boots. Same time, oh, the supports, well, that explains why they weren't able to help out. They got the pick off on the Beastmaster now. Shachlo trying to bring down the Wisp, should be able to. Not a whole lot that ComeWithMe can do except try and tether out, but MeTTpuM, nice little kinetic field, keeping both of them in here and ready to be picked off by Tamer Wild as well as Shachlo. So a little bit of over-aggression there from Kaipi, netting a couple of extra kills towards FlipSid.
Yeah, that's really nice punish for them. Because with the Enigma having a fairly solid lane, it wasn't looking so good for them, but now I actually really like the fact Slardar moved around because without him that wouldn't have been set up at all.
I mean, he's already got enough levels in the offlane that he doesn't necessarily need to stick around down there for much longer. Even though he doesn't quite have his little oh god, middle lane. Tamer Wild, ComeWithMe and Sing Sing go right deep on him. Trying to bottle up between the hits, and he's still alive, but the last Wisp Orb will bring him down. A glimpse back, and Sing Sing keeps him alive. ComeWithMe links up with Zai though, as he makes rotation in to provide a little bit of extra extra presence at the very least. Keep MeTTpuM away. Shachlo will be able to take over the lane though. Get us level 6 and a couple of CS perhaps.
Yeah, just being efficient while the Lesh is down. But again, like I was saying at the start of the game, I'm quite scared if Kaipi aren't getting something done with their heroes and they need to be... I think they want to be ahead off the laning stage, even though it's, in my mind, quite infeasible for that to happen, but they're making it work. You know, by no means is there a huge gold lead for them, but what they're missing out in terms of jungle farm, because the Beastmaster's been jungling the entire game, it's actually just going to be slightly more efficient. They're making up for and getting some kills with their ults.
FlipSid looking to turn around though. Kinetic field keeps Bamboe and Zai still. Yeah, they will still get the kill on to Sedoy before the rocket come out from vanskor rotating in through the back here. Black hole. I don't know what that was about. Yeah, this gets whacked down anyway. But now Bamboe and ComeWithMe looking like horsey, looking to trade from MeTTpuM as well. The Wisp Bolt's not quite enough. With stick charges keeping Disruptor alive, they're still gonna go in much deeper here, bring down vanskor. Now the kinetic field keeping them under the tower. They still get the kill with the IO balls, and the bottle charges will keep him alive. Even Tamer Wild going in deep for the kill will get it, but at what cost? He goes down as well. It's a 4-for-2 trade. Fight recap shows all of that well in favor of Kaipi here after all of that. Oh god, that's not even over. Sexy Bamboe, he got a lot of money. I'll give up a little bit after all is said and done.
A bit of an unnecessary feat there, I suppose, but still very advantageous for them. Just the amount of levels they get from that engagement as well. Level 7 online means, even without Finger, he's a very valid threat. Puck going for the Veil as well, I'm presuming he's going straight Veil.
Yep.
He's nearly got the money for it. It makes a lot of their lineup just do more damage. And with Wisp about to hit level 6, the only thing they're really missing is Black Hole cooldown.
Yep.
Which doesn't even really matter because Line can make things happen, the Puck is getting Coil up in a few seconds, so then they can layer their ults. It's like by the time Coil comes up, second time they'll have Enigma's ult again, providing they get the chance to use it. It's much better that they don't force something stupid and their ults stay on cooldown, but or off cooldown even. But if they get the chance, they definitely want to look to use those. Just make as much space for Bone 7 as possible, who's already leading. Only by a small amount, but...
He's been the big benefactor of all of this pressure also on a map, just being able to free farm completely, sitting barely on top of the net worth chart. Now, Bamboe smoked up. Now they're gonna go on Tamer Wild. Initial hacks, relocate comes in as well, follow-up stun, everyone is here all of a sudden. Well,
Bye
come with
bye,
me,
Rainbow
snagging
Pony.
that. Yeah. He just got instantly deleted now. Speaking of deleted, vanskor going for the raw to come with me. The relocate out is gonna take him back to safety. Now Zai looking to finish off vanskor with a Maleficent's own level 1. Might be enough to take him out. Not quite here, but the orb coming through at the right angle to get a Sing Sing the kill. 2 for 1 after all, as IO does end up taking out. Still very much worth it. That IO sitting at 4, 3, and 4. How crazy is that? And how crazy is this Kaipi? Shachlo. I don't know what he's thinking he could do there, but now looking to try and juke with a vision, but I don't think it's gonna be possible for him to survive here, especially not with Zai coming in with another Maleficent. Sedoy's got himself a DD rune, but doesn't really have an easy way to close the gap and actually get the damage off.
And right now, Kaipi are just outplaying them. The early level 6 on Wisp is always something that makes the game look slightly skewed, but even after the one kill they get on Lesh, they still hold the numbers advantage for the engagement, and FlipSid are the ones walking in trying to capitalize on situations they think looks good, and in the end it just turns out badly for them. And right now they're really reeling just because Lifestealer doesn't quite have his armlet yet. I think it's coming out, but it's not the quickest armlet. The Lesh has already kind of been feasted upon several times, so he doesn't feel safe going out on the map, and it's going to force him to play very constrained. Like, they'll be in this side of the map for most of the game now, I feel like, until they feel like they're able to fight, just because splitting up practically means death. And any wards they get on the map as well, depending where Bone 7 is farming.
They catch Zai as well as Sing Sing actually in the kinetic field here. They have the roar to follow up on the puck. That should be a kill here. Glimpse back onto Zai, but the stun a little bit mistimed from Tamer Wild. Actually relocate attempted to relocate out, but looks of it. They will get the Wisp and the return. Actually, what? No, okay, I was gonna say. Ball's doing enough work here despite the missed crush on the tether out. Yeah, flip side, turning around, Bone 7, he's Invis here, showing off his new Shadow Blade, looking to finish off Shachlo. Look at the damage that he does, manages to get the pick off Zai, making his way in. He does have a Black Hole available. If he just finds a good opportunity to use it, Tamer Wild found himself an Invis rune of his own. Now, trying to turn it around with Bone 7 here, just splitting up. And now, yeah, the mana from the Soul Ring ran out. Unable to really get that off. Tamer Wild still waiting for an opportunity to maybe do something else. As a glimpse back on the line sends him all the way back to base. Come with me, links up with Bone 7 now to heal him up a little bit more. As he got a second charge of the Shadow Blade off. Finds Metrom in the side here. It should be another easy pick off. As they keep the chase going onto vanskor here in the backlines here. Maleficent caught him. And they does mean that they do keep track of him. Tamer Wilds, well, Zimmer's run out. They don't have too much in terms of control left to try and bring him down. Zai pops a jump charge though to try and keep him there. And yeah, they should get in range for the Maleficent, and they do. The burst damage is there. Give yet another kill to Kaipi. That was so bloody. I don't even know who won that. I want to say Kaipi, but
yeah, Kaipi
yeah,
definitely
bro,
come out
definitely.
ahead. Like the initial engagement from FlipSid was exactly what they needed. Disruptor getting the 2-man Static Storm, forcing the relocate, still getting the puck, picking off the Wisp. That was all amazing for them. Then they just overstep way too much. They think they can still take the fight. Their most important ult is already down, and then
It didn't have the solution for the Slark coming in. Both 7 not feeling, yeah, not having any issues with entering an engagement where you already lost 3 heroes.
No, and they came back up when like almost the third re-engage came out because Bone 7 was at like 0 health. And then Wisp TP's in, heals him up. More importantly, gives him the mana. And everything just went really badly for them when they went one step too far.
They go badly, Tamer Wild gets caught once again by Bone 7, even ComeWithMe relocating in to be that insurance policy. And might just take Bone 7 back here.
You know, now they feel like they can't farm anywhere. This run of vision from Kaipi gives them just complete control of the dire side woods. So FlipSid have to farm in the Radiant Woods, and while they have decent vision to be able to scout when Kaipi come to contest them, the amount they can get around here just feels a lot less. Okay, they pushed the tier 1, but that was in a trade. And the second Kaipi are able to have maybe only 1 or 2 heroes.
Going in deep again here. This time around, Shachlo does have a passenger that don't quite reveal it just yet, but Bamboe forces them out. Now Sedoy looking to turn it around the line. He got his spells off anyway here, and vanskor will fall to Bone 7. Meanwhile, back here, Disruptor also went down. Now Sing Sing finally making an appearance here. Gets a call on 2. Sedoy doesn't have the rage available. Now the black hole to finish it off. That's a full 5-man wipe in the span of a couple of seconds here in the backlines behind the tier 2. Ouch.
Kaipi is just playing so much better, honestly. This is what I feel it comes down to. It's hard to go into like analyzing how the draft should be playing when one team's just playing better.
Yeah.
And they're not even playing with a mech at this point because Zai opted to go for drums, which I think is really standard when you're playing an offlane, and opted for Veil instead. Sorry, not Veil.
The Vlads, yeah.
Vlads. And Sing has his Veil as well as Blink now. They're just hitting like all these windows, and they're not even relying on their ults being up at this point.
Yeah, it's a regular combo here from Puck. Blink, Veil, Orb, Silence. It's gonna be enough to bring down some of these squishier supports here, like the Disruptor. Even Beastmaster has a 1,000 health
everyone
points to play
dies
with, but yeah.
except Lifestealer. He just needs +1 for some heroes. And that kill with, I'm guessing, with the reveal of the Blink from Slardar is a step in the right direction.
Picking up Blinks here, sexy Bamboe showing us his own one. Getting the initiation together with Sing Sing. Tamer Wild's not having a good game here. They get the roll plus the crush. They stack that completely. And nice little stack stone though. Doesn't quite catch the whip, but does catch Sing Sing and Bamboe here. Not enough to bring him down here as they do not quite get the damage out. Now the Ravage stun onto 2. He is setting up for Sing Sing to come back, but not quite enough to finish anyone off just yet. He has a Slark. Somehow died somewhere else on the map entirely. And now it's gonna be FlipSid's turn to get a full team wipe. Slark, I didn't catch that kill, but he died all the way down at the bottom.
Yeah, it was an infest bomb from Slardar.
Right.
Well, I suppose everything I say can be scratched for a while now, because that engagement was really well set up. Unfortunately, they lost Valesh before the heroes were there to defend him, but they managed to completely wipe them as well, so they'll take that trade every day. And this will buy them a bit of time just to feel like they can get out on the map, push the waves out, start on their next set of items. Because if you look at how Lesh is farmed, he's a support at this stage of the game. He needs a lot of farm to feel relevant. I wouldn't even be surprised if he goes for... there's no one item that really helps him here, but he needs to be able to skirt on the edge of the fights, I feel, which his build doesn't complement at all. Going into Kaipi at this point almost is completely reliant on your other 2 cores being in already and drawing the focus away from you.
I'd like to see him maybe go back for Yield Scepter. Just have, maybe just buy a little bit of extra time for your team to come in to maybe try and turn a pickup around, but as it stands, Bamboe and Sing Sing find another one. vanskor turns around with a roar here, unable to really follow it up as the fight actually rages on the backlines here. Slardar ends up falling. Sedoy will trade for ComeWithMe, tries to get the relocate off just a little bit further, kiting around as much as they can, while Tamer goes with Zai, who's alone left by his own right. His Bone 7 finishes up the Disruptor on the backlines, and now they refocus their efforts here onto Sedoy and Tamer Wild, and I don't know, there's no way for Leshrac to really walk out of that. And just team wipes left, right, and center here from both of these teams.
Yeah, I feel like that's just... It's a really nice smoke from Kaipi to re-establish dominance in the game where they are ahead. They just had one really botched engagement where
Yep.
FlipSid honestly just outmaneuvered them. And now they get complete control back. They had the mech on Wisp, which just meant there wasn't any form of threat to their heroes. They just feel really safe playing up
Yep.
with this amount of sustain. And Enigma has so many like aura items as well. It's just really hard to play into this lineup as 5 now.
Even as a
They're
solo crest now.
capitalizing on it.
Even as a solo crest to give over to anyone who's going on by the Lifestealer. Yeah, just take the range tracks here, play it safe. You can still
They can
maybe
get
get a
punished
glimpse
for
back.
this.
Yeah, there it is with Bamboe, Sedoy, and the crush from Shachlo will secure that kill. They ideally want
It's
a little bit
important
more
they
than that.
just leave him though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's really good that Kaipi don't fight that, because at the end of the day, giving up, I would say any hero except Bone 7 there is completely worth the tier 3 and the range.
Okay,
They
maybe
want to
they.
contest Roche.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Gonna
They-
say,
they
yeah,
don't wanna
do
give
they have
it
somewhere
up.
to be or what? Yeah, but yeah, it's the smoke up here in the backlines from 2 supports. There's a black hole available. No blink dagger on the Enigma, but maybe Bamboe setting up in a high ground here can get a good ravage off himself. Oh, there it is. Only gets it on Shachlo here, almost brings him down. And now Sing Sing to finish him off. Sedoy looking to try and trade for Bamboe. He should be gone for minimum backlines. Well, that relocate will take them right back out on the Static Storm. And yeah, Tamer Wild brought down after everyone else. And Bamboe even survives. Sedoy unable to really finish him off. And 4 heroes down once again means that they will also be able to take this Roshan and finish it off very, very quickly.
I wouldn't
Aegis
be
in the
surprised
slot.
if they like caught GG at that point. That Roche
Yeah.
felt very all in. It was a complete reaction to the fact they killed the Lion. They knew Kaipi backed off to get away from any chase from FlipSid. So it was a really good decision to them to like go towards Roche. But I think the second the buyback comes out, you just have to piece it. Not try and stay around the pit there at all, because you know they're stronger than you in fights. You've seen that the past few times where they're the ones dictating how it gets initiated. They win every single time.
4 of the top 5 heroes in the game belong to Kaipi right now. The only one that's even close is the Lifestealer for FlipSid, and it's just not going to be enough. He's just been cutted around. Even if he finds a target, it's very hard for him to actually dish out the damage that they need to even get the kill, even on something like a Lion. But there it is. They're gonna keep
Even
going
then-
here, diving in deep. Matron will fall immediately at the beginning of the fight. Timberwald trying to do what he can, but he stacks up the Raw to Zai. Well, not gonna translate into as much as Sing Sing gets the call up. Bone 7 just rampaging around the backlines, and now the black hole in the front here. On Shachlo and Sedoy, who did pick up the supports in the backlines, but Bone 7, he's the one with the Aegis, he's the one with the damage. Him and Sing Sing both get themselves yet another team wipe. They lose a little bit more this time around, but no one left to stop him from putting on damage onto these towers.
And it's not like they played that badly either. They bait them into their base. When the relocate comes out defensively, they go with the Slardar and Nakes onto the 2, kill both of them. But with just how long it takes them to do the damage, there's plenty of time for Kaipi to respond.
Just came back from the dead. He's died again. It's gotta be frustrating. Shachlo tried to do what he can. You're just blinking with a crush, but didn't quite have the vision to actually bring down Bone 7. Now they get the amplified damage on him. That'll be purged up immediately. Now, doesn't actually have silence. Invis ultimate, but does still have the Aegis. Opting to use that just to make sure that they can finish off the melee racks. And now it's gonna have a Shadow Blade available again. His ultimate in a couple of seconds. Might actually be able to turn around the table wild. Yeah, especially with Wisp coming back here. The Roar comes out. But it's not gonna be enough here. Just purges it off. The finger of death on the range creep from Bamboe as he taunts it out. GG is called, and FlipSid find themselves on the wrong end of a stump.
Yeah, it just feels like this game was what they wanted to be doing last game. Like, if you... In the respect that if you take FlipSid's lineup last game, that's kind of... With how Kaipi played this game, that's what they wanted to be doing last time. This time, they had the cores to be able to do things, but the supports from Kaipi came online and stopped them being able to be the ones dictating the pace. And that's all it really comes down to, because I preferred FlipSid's draft. I thought they had an easier execute, and they were naturally going to... But they just weren't able to turn it into anything. I actually think again it was like Zai and ComeWithMe completely dictating this game at the start. Last game it was Bamboe, this game it was ComeWithMe, and it just seems to thrive in the off lane when they can put pressure on whichever carry they're playing against. And it just opened up way too much room for Sing and Bone to get what they needed.
Alright, and with that, Kaipi take a very much deserved 2-0 victory. They're looking very good in this tournament so far. And they move on in the upper bracket. They're gonna face the winner of Polarity versus Danish Bears. That's a matchup that'll happen tomorrow. For today, though, we're still gonna have one match remaining. It's gonna be FlipSid having some more work before themselves to keep themselves alive in the tournament even. They're gonna face up against Pro Dota in a lower bracket elimination match that's scheduled to start in just over an hour. So I'll keep you up to date on what's going on with that. But for now, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the cast, and I hope I'll see you a little bit later. My name is DragonDrop. I'm joined by PKMZ, and we will be back, as I said, in just over an hour.